Coming up on This Week, Next Week, Zac Lloyd dominated Rosehill on Saturday, riding half of the card, including the Group 2 Hobartville Stakes on superstar colt Broadsiding. We dissect Zac's winners and losers from the day and look forward to what else he has booked for the autumn.
Hello, I'm Ray Thomas and welcome to This Week, Next Week. Corey Brown alongside me. We'll get to Zac Lloyd a little later in the show. Looking forward to talking to him. 5 winners on the day. He dominated, and some of his rides, broadsiding in particular, tactically perfect. Corey.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. A good day. Could have been a small bit better. But
suspension he got.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a shame, like especially when we're heading into the carnival like we are and the support that he's getting. But shouldn't be too much of a bump in the road.
Yep, we'll get to Zac Lloyd a little later in the show. Let's get straight into our replays. Plenty to get through. And first up, the Millie Fox Stakes, and she's getting a bit of a reputation as a first up specialist now, Firestorm.
I wonder, is it because there's a lot of obviously horses there first up in that field, whether she's just that bit sharper than them first up. But it was a terrific win because, honestly, the leaders, I know the backmarkers have got home, but the speed of the race, it was a full advantage to the horses up front. They were going quite steadily, but she's, first and second up, her form's outstanding.
She's going great guns in for a big autumn. Here's the Silver Slipper Stakes, and this was the start of a big day for Godolphin and James Cummings. Baywalked, a bit of an upset win, but to be fair, Corey, he sat outside leader in the controlling position, was too good.
He's a really nice horse, Ray, I think, going forward. Not that he's a sleeper neither. First up, he was terrific. Second up, his second start, he had absolutely no luck. But there on the weekend, his turn of foot in acceleration, it was decent speed, and for him to accelerate like he did, and they've got nothing but upside,
West of Swindon and Woden, second and third.
Perfect.
Both good runs.
Well, Woden, obviously had no luck, so he's not out of the picture. He just had no luck there on the weekend. And West of Swindon, I thought he was terrific. He looked big in the yard. He's come off one trial, and I think he's got a heap of improvement.
Yeah, I think it's a strong form race, the Silver Slipper. Here's the Parramatta Cup in our Anchorage. Another one of these Björn Baker horses over summer who just keeps winning.
They're putting up picket fences. It's crazy. His stable's on fire at the moment, and that was a really good win there. But I'm going to give a rap to Ash Morgan. He's decided to make his move to Sydney permanent, which I think is a great thing. Just a small shame that he can't ride a fraction lighter. His opportunities would be... he'd get a lot more opportunities, but he'd give that horse a gun ride there on the weekend. Mate, again, the stable's just on fire.
Yeah, the horses are just holding their form and racing so well. Here's the Hobartville Stakes, and I just thought he was an absolute star of the day, broadsiding, and wow, he's going to be something to watch right through the autumn.
He is, Ray, and what I loved about him, although he didn't race outside leader, he raced right behind the speed in the 1-1, so he just showed his versatility, what they can do with him now. Yeah, he's just a little superstar. I call him like a little Bantam rooster. He's one of those ones. He's not that as big as the big, strong, robust colts, but he's got that little man syndrome, and he's great to watch. I love him.
Swift Falcon was good running second, and the filly Aliana I thought was terrific.
Aliana was terrific. She came from last, basically, weaved her way through, and nice race.
Yeah, he's some horse broadsiding. Group 1 racing at Caulfield on the weekend, and Mr Brightside. This is his 9th Group 1, but should Tom Kitten have won, Corey?
Tom Kitten should have won easy, but taking nothing away from the win, Mr Brightside, he deserves that title as a champion. He's freakish. 9 Group 1 wins, is it now?
He comes up every prep.
Yeah, mate, he's a bulldog. He was there to be beaten on the weekend. Yes, Tom Kitten should have won. He got held up back in the field with nothing to drag him into the race, but this horse, he done all the work up front. He hit the front, top of the straight.
That man, Craig Williams, getting the job done again. Here's the Blue Diamond Stakes. A wrap here for Team Hawks. Devil Knight, just his second start, wins Victoria's Premier Juvenile
It's a fair
race.
effort. It's a very, very good effort. Speed was just, mediocre for one of those sort of races, but to get out in front, only a second start in a race, and to hold off horses like that,
he's tough,
pretty big effort.
Yeah,
pretty big effort.
Tough colt. He'll be heading towards the Golden Slipper. Here's the Oakley Plate. And what about the finishing speed of Jimmy Starr?
Jimmy Starr was a star there on the weekend. He's finishing. I'd love to see his last furlong, the sectional of his last furlong, because it was, land speed record. He was on fire. Oakley Plate to come from off the back of him like he did, and pick him up as easy as he did.
Massive.
Yeah.
Headwall was unlucky running fourth. Matt Smith's sprint probably should have been right in the finish. The richest race in the world, the Saudi Cup, was run early on Sunday morning. At this point, Corey, I thought he's home, J-Mac, but unfortunately Romantic Warrior got a bit tired, and Forever Young wouldn't go away.
Yeah, I reckon J-Mac would be a little bit disappointed. I reckon if he had his time again, he would have held up a bit in the straight. He pushed the button, for mine, probably 100 metres too soon. But
could have waited, you think?
Yeah, he could have waited just a little bit longer and just pushed the button a little bit later. First time on the dirt, I would have tried to keep the horse as happy as he could for as long as he could. But look, that's racing.
Well, J-Mac bounced back with a terrific ride-on voyage, Bubbles. In a spot of bother here, finds the gap. It's all over in 2 strides.
He looks a big lump of a thing, this horse. He's a massive horse and he obviously needs room. But once he got the room, he put it into the sword pretty quickly. Just a terrific win.
Yeah, he's now, that's his 4th Group 1 and he's just too good for them over the mile there in Hong Kong. We'll go to the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup, another Group 1 at Hong Kong on the weekend. Ka Ying Rising, the Everest favourite, goes to 1,400 metres for the first time, aiming for his 10th consecutive win. Look pretty routine, Corey.
Yeah, this horse, he makes things look like a bit of a track work gallop, to be honest. He's one of those horses, he's just a stylish type of horse. I'd like to see him in the flesh. He looks a really nice horse.
120.33 for the 1,400, just too good.
Yep.
He'll have one more run for the season in the Chairman's Sprint Prize in a couple of months' time, back to 1,200 at Sha Tin, and then we'll see him in the Everest in spring. Rachel King, we've got to give her a rap, Corey. She's riding in Japan at the moment. She'll be back home for the Sydney Autumn soon. Becomes the first female jockey to win a Group 1 race in Japan on the weekend. Outstanding achievement.
A massive achievement. I was speaking to Rachel. I used to mentor her here about 4 or 5 years ago, and she didn't want to go away. She didn't want to go to Melbourne even. And I said, mate, you've got to get out if you want to ride, big races. I said, you've got to get out and about. And look at her now. She's on absolute fire over there. So I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, and she's ridden in the Kentucky Derby. She's ridden the US Breeders' Cup. She's ridden all over the world. Royal Ascot, and here she's winning Group 1s in Tokyo. Remarkable achievement. Congratulations to Rachel, and she'll be back in Sydney for the autumn soon. Here's the Country Championships qualifier at Lismore, and that man, Matty Dunn, 1, 2, 3, Tribeca Star winner.
And it was fitting, like he had the top 3 horses in the betting. They all finished, how they were meant to finish. Second horse might have been a fraction unlucky. He's got the slot now, so it doesn't really matter. But
and here's Sunday's Country Championships qualifier at Now. A big crowd down there, and Keith Dryden, Libby Snowden, Sunshine, just too good.
Yeah, just too good. Another tough effort. Great trainer, Keithy Dryden. He's been around for years, but he's always got a nice, handy horse under his belt.
Well, Corey, let's go back to Rosehill last Saturday, where Zac Lloyd had a day out riding 5 winners, and we spoke to Zac earlier today. He's about to tee off on the first there at St Michael's, so we'll go straight to him. Hey, Zac, thanks for joining us on This Week, Next Week. Congratulations on what was an outstanding day last Saturday, 5 winners. And you told me after the last, when you went on Time to Boogie, that's the first time you've ridden 5 winners in one day on any racetrack.
Yeah. Hey, Ray. Hey, Corey. Thanks for having me on. I've ridden 4, I think 5 or 6 times, but never 5. So obviously to do it on a Saturday was quite special.
Well, to do it on that day as well, I know it wasn't a Group 1 day, but you're under a lot of pressure, broadsiding, a couple other nice horses, but to do it on a big day, I think it's even more special.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, having those horses helps, and but it adds pressure. But it all fell my way. A couple close finishes went my way on the day, so everything just fell into place, which I'm very fortunate for.
Actually, Zac, we're just looking at the last winner of the day in the close, and that was Time to Boogie. He controlled the tempo well. He's been a horse who his form's been a little bit indifferent this prep, but we saw the best of him on Saturday.
Yeah, I was very confident he'll race well, and so when you've had 4 winners, you just get on any horse and think they can win. So I just had to focus on the jump because he had his blinkers back on, and they can sometimes be a bit tardy, but he executed the start well, travelled very nicely, and luckily the post came up just in time.
I was more worried when I was watching you go back to the inside. I was expecting you on the leader to angle off into that the Lloyd lane there on the weekend, but when you faded back towards the fence, I thought, don't go there, Zacco, but it didn't matter anyway, mate.
Yeah, well, I angled off coming into the straight, and he just stayed on the same leg, and I thought if he wants to finish off the race, he's going to have to swap legs, and so I sacrificed that lane, the Lloyd lane, for the inside so we could just change legs, and whether it was the winning move or not, I don't know. But yeah, it was all right.
Well, let's go to broadsiding, Zac. He was a sight to behold on Saturday in the Hobartville Stakes. I was surprised he showed so much speed early. I know he was a fresh horse on the scene, but he lobbed into third position for you and he just travelled throughout, and coming to the home turn, it was a matter of just how far you wanted to win by.
Yeah, he's obviously a very exciting colt. Very obviously fortunate that James and the Godolphin operation gave me the opportunity to ride him. I was a bit concerned pre-race where my spot would be. I thought maybe I could lob in the 1 out 3 back position. I didn't want to be that negative and drag him out the race, but he begun really well. Linebacker missed a kick, so straight away I just gave him a little click in the gear to try take up a forward spot, and those good horses, they're so push button. He went forward, then switched right back off. So very push button to ride.
I'm not going to ask you too much about the win there on the weekend. We know Broadsiding's a really, really nice horse. But what I want to ask you, you've been on some really nice colts, or even geldings for that matter, but that colt there on the weekend, he's not that big, strong, sort of bully type of horse, but his attitude, you can see he's got that sort of little man syndrome, if that makes sense. How can you feel that on him? Like, yeah. I mean, he's not that, again, he's not this big tank of a horse that drags you around. No, he's not an Enemo. Yeah. But he just looks like it's the attitude that he's got. He walks in the enclosure, he's like a Bantam rooster, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's very swaggy. Like, I've ridden him since as a year, like a weanling, like 1 year old, and he's always been like that. He's cheeky. Yeah. He was quite rambunctious and boisterous as a young horse, but while his mentality is definitely improved, he's still got that sass in him, which obviously makes him very good and what you need in a colt. So I know what you mean. He definitely asserts himself, even though he's not overly big.
Yeah. He goes to the Randwick Guineas next, and he's in for a really exciting autumn. One of the horses that you didn't win on Saturday, Zac, but I thought ran a terrific race resuming, was Scarlet Oak in the Millie Fox Stakes. She must have given you a great feel, and I think she's in for a good autumn as well.
Yeah, she ran really well. Her trials have been for everyone to see. She's been trialling really well, so I was expecting her to run well. Obviously, Macarena is a class horse, but only had the one trial. She was sharp first up, jumped well, put herself in a spot, and yeah, we'll take good benefit from that run.
Mate, what were your thoughts when you come off their back?
I thought, I'm going to win again.
Yeah, she looked like that as well, but you could tell she's got good improvement in her. Although she's not the biggest and strongest, robust type of horse, you can tell she just looked that fraction soft, and she's got that good improvement left in her.
Yeah, exactly. The feeling around the bend was that she was going to win the race, and she probably just fell to the last furlong, but perfect first up run for her.
Yep.
And Zac, can you tell us what happened with Belle Merci? You ended up in the steward's room after the race as well, and she's been to Rosehill twice now, and she didn't perform well in the trial, and that wasn't her on Saturday. Have you had a chance to talk to John Thompson post-race and work out exactly where the filly is at?
I did have a chat with him, yes. Obviously, she was extremely disappointing, and she's much better than that, but she's just not handling high pressure situations at the moment. Obviously, when she's in front, she's controlling the race, and it's all well and good for her. But when she was outside a horse in the trial, she'd done something wrong, and when she was in amongst them at race day on the weekend, she didn't handle it. So obviously, she's still got a lot of improving to do mentally.
I'm not sure. And not saying I would have loved to have seen Chad on her on Saturday, but Chad rode her in the trial there at Rosehill on the course proper, and she'd done basically exactly the same thing, even the same positioning. She was sort of like just labouring all the way down the straight. Whether or not it's the track or she just sort of hasn't come up yet. I know she trialled really well down there at Kembla, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a hard one.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I'm in two minds. I don't know if she's much better than that, but there's something's not right.
Well, this weekend, Zac, unfortunately, you start that suspension, so you don't get the chance to ride Lady Shenandoah again in the Surround Stakes. But boy, how good was she first up in the light fingers?
Yeah, I think McDonald was getting back on the anyway, but she's super exciting. Probably the most exciting horse I've had anything to do with, and she's going to be a force to reckon with on Saturday. So, as a spectator and as a fan of the game, she's going to be good to watch.
Zac, I want to give you, a little bit of a pat on the back. Just how much you've matured as a rider. There on the weekend, even when you got the suspension, you're 50-50, but you've done it gracefully. The old Zac would have just barged out and, knocked them all over and dealt with it in the steward's room. But I'm going to give you a big pat on the back there. What about premierships, mate? Is that in the back of your mind? Because he's beatable.
He's beatable when he's away most of the time, but when he's back, he's hard to beat. But I'm just happy with the way I'm riding. Thanks for saying I've matured, because I've worked very hard at it and trying to stay out that steward's room. So if I get good rides and I'm riding with the confidence I am now, I can ride a lot of winners, but so can he, that's for sure.
Of course, we're talking about James McDonald, but you're within 9 wins of James now, so that's a terrific season so far. Zac, look, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you hit them well today, and we'll see you again on the racetrack very, very shortly.
Thank you, Ray, and thanks, Corey. Thanks for having me on.
Good on you, bud.
There's Zac Lloyd. I know he's a bit of a protege of yours, but he is a young star, isn't he,
He's
Corey?
an absolute little superstar. And I don't like measuring jockeys up, but, he's where he's at in his career, and, you measure him up against some of the other guns. He's, I'm not going to say he's well in front, but he's definitely on top of them.
Yeah, so he's in for a terrific career. Well, this weekend, of course, it is Group 1 racing back to Sydney. The Very Elegant Stakes is the feature, and 12 months ago, Think It Over, a tough win over the favourite Fangirl.
Dasher staying towards the inside of Think It Over, and he's pinched ground pretty quickly, and Think It Over dashes to the front of the 300 from Lindemann, and now Fangirl is starting to cut loose, wide out 3 off the lead. It's Think It Over, a length to Lindemann. Fangirl is closing in. It's Think It Over, a length and a half to Fangirl. Think It Over's kicking hard. Think It Over wants it. Fangirl can't get there, and the King of Kembla, Think It Over.
There's nothing you can do to make your won't stop.
Hieronymus on Tropical Squall starts to wind it up, staying close to the fence though from Macarena. Steffi Magnetica straying on the fence and now learning to fly, wound up 2 further back to Chris Dilly. Tis Invincible's got it all to do. Inside the 200, Tropical Squall led the way. Up on the inside, Steffi Magnetica learning to fly is grinding. Tropical Squall's kicking hard. Steffi's in for the fight. Tropical Squall and neck in front to Steffi Magnetica. Tropical Squall clings on. Tropical Squall and Adam Hieronymus combine for another Group 1 success.
Yeah, Tropical Squall holding on to win the Surround Stakes last year. Corey, she didn't quite kick on after that, but the filly that ran second, Steffi Magnetica, went on to win a Stradbroke, and she trialled brilliantly this morning.
She was so consistent last preparation.
Yeah, she's in for a big autumn. Probably resumes in the Canterbury Stakes next week. Well, Group 1 racing is back for Sydney this autumn, this weekend at Royal Randwick. And also returning is Tim Ryan from Tab. And Tim, good evening. A lot to get through with some big races coming up this weekend.
Yeah, good evening, Ray. Enjoyed a short little freshen up, but great to be back for the Group 1 racing. We've got a couple of crackers on Saturday, including the Tab Very Elegant Stakes, where Versistina, the ruling $2.30 favourite. She's been really well back since we first put markets up. $3.50 prenoms, we bet about her. She was still $2.50 yesterday. Now in the $2.30. Punters think with J-Mac on, she will be unbeatable on Saturday. Choa Wolf and Fangirl, the only others really punters are interested in, both there as a $3.50 chance. Best backed runner of the weekend is Lady Shenandoah. She's been really well back since we first put markets up. $4.50 prenoms, $3.50 all in. She's into the red and the best backed runner on the weekend. Autumn Glow, we don't know whether she'll run on Saturday. Money suggests she might not. They'd probably be a little bit closer together if she was to turn up there on Saturday. Lady of Camelot looks the best hope for the bookies. She'll be out there in front, making her own luck. The Group 2 Skyline Stakes on Saturday for the 2-year-olds. Shaggy, we love what he did last start at Randwick. He's a $2.80 favourite there in front of Rivellino, the other unbeaten horse. United States, the good firm this morning, $11 into $7. Also a little bit of money for Hillier, 26 into 15. The fillies a little bit more competitive there. Bella Zane, a $3.50 favourite. Her form through Bivuct looks pretty good for this. Memo back from the Magic Millions, a $4.50 second favourite there on Saturday. Looking further ahead, your Tab Golden Slipper. Wadton just out of touch from Saturday, 3 out to 350. He had excuses, and we face a $500,000 payout if he's to get the cash. So we're not giving too much away there. Apocalyptic didn't trial that well this morning. He just went out a touch there, 11 out to 13. Bivuct a good firm on Saturday, $34 into $13. And down in Melbourne, Tycoon Star, the shortest of the Blue Diamond runners, a $21 chance. The Doncaster Mile, we'll know more after Saturday. Lady Shenandoah, the favourite there at $6. Broadsiding a firm on Saturday, as was Tom Kitten, unlucky runner down in Melbourne. Moving on to the next Group 1, we have the TJ Smith Stakes, and Private Harry's into equal favourite now. Plenty of money for him since his latest trial, $6 each or two between him and Switzerland. A big firm on Saturday, $51 into $11 for Jimmy Star after that Oakley Plate run. And on to the Derby, a little bit quiet here. Willie Dewitt's been well back throughout. Most prenoms betting there. An equal favourite there at $8. Chanwa, a firm on Saturday, 51 into $11. A good winner down in Melbourne. The Queen Elizabeth Stakes, not a lot of change here. We had except nominations during the week. Jubiona nominated an $8 chance there, but Via Sistina, she holds all the money as a $2.50 favourite.
Good to have you back. Timmy, which horse are you taking on this weekend?
Yeah, well, I'm going to stick with Via Sistina. She's very, very popular with punters. Punters think that she was unlucky first up. I think she was, but not really as unlucky as it was made out to be. And I think she's way too short as a $2.30 favourite. I don't think there's much between the three big dogs there. So I think she's under the odds, and we'll take her on at the $2.30.
It's an interesting point that Timmy made. It's what you were saying last week. Via Sistina probably beaten on her merits by Fangirl, who's got that superior turn of foot.
Yeah, no, I just thought too, I think the ride had a lot to do with it. Jason Collett just had K-Mac where he wanted him back inside, and, you know, she's a big mare. She needs a bit of room to get going. So, yeah, it was just a smart ride by Jason Collett. 1,600 metres might even it out. It could be a great clash this weekend. Well, plenty happening during the week leading into Royal Randwick on Saturday. Kembla Grange and Taree are racing on Tuesday. Midweek meeting at Rosehill this week. Then Thursday we're at Wyong and Armidale. Friday, another night meeting at Canterbury. A Country Championships qualifier at Orange. We're also racing at Goulburn on Friday. Back to Royal Randwick on Saturday with Group 1 racing. Newcastle's got a Provincial Championships heat and a qualifier for the Country Champs at Wagga. And we're racing on Sunday at Coffs Harbour and Maruya. Corey, this is a crack meeting this weekend, as you'd expect being a Group 1. Which horse are you looking forward to seeing? Lady Shenandoah for me. I just think she's got a little bit of freak about her. What she's done, you know, in such a short space of time, she's going places. Yeah,
she was outstanding in the Light Finger Stakes first up. For me, I think Chris Waller can win both Group 1s this weekend, and I think Via Sistina can bounce back in this great showdown with the likes of Bangul and Chaya Wolf in the Very Elegant Stakes. On behalf of Corey Brown and I, thanks for joining us on This Week. Next week, we'll see you next Monday.